Hi, I'm Amy. I was born in Wales and I'm a teacher. This is Alex. He was born in Ukraine and he's a doctor. In 2024, we decided to take our careers on the road. We're spending the year traveling full-time and working remotely. Feel free to follow along each week as we move from country to country and give you our travel tips for each place. This week, I'm working on editing the first video in our Australia series, but in the meantime, we wanted to put out a travel day vlog from our very first time in business class. At the end, I'll explain how we got this incredible experience for $5.60.
Boy, our check-in experience. We walk in and you get greeted by a greeter, and the greeter says, "Hello, how can I help you?" And you say, "I don't know, I've never been here before. This isn't something I normally do." So you hand him your passport and he says, "Great, go ahead and take a seat. Enjoy some beverages and snacks, and I'll just handle your passports for you." And then he did. He handled them. We enjoyed a glassed Perrier. And he just walked over, handed us back our passports and boarding passes and said, "Here you go, enjoy your flight." And then you get up and you walk towards check-in, and Delta One has their own TSA check-in line, totally separate from everything else. You go up, you scan your passport, you put your luggage in, it goes through the tube, you walk through, that's it, one other person in front of us. We go through an elevator. Right before you get on the elevator, Fox Water takes you up, you go through this romantic hallway, doors open, you're in the lounge. It's crazy. Surreal.
We said we were gonna have a light snack. A light snack at the lounge before our flight. This is what he brought back.
It's for both of us.
No, it's not.
This is.
I'm gonna make my own food. So once we got to the lounge, there's all this food. It's like free with our ticket. There's lots of vegetarian options. There was a taco bar, free alcohol. Alex got a Moscow Mule, and I got rosé. Really good sugar cookies. I already ate one, but this is Alex's. There was a gelato machine, which was very, very cool. They only had one flavor, which was coffee, but they said they were getting chocolate too. They had like an outdoor place to sit and watch planes take off. We also have seen these like Porsches that say Delta on the side that are driving people directly to the flight. And I'm wondering what those people got. And if Delta One doesn't include that service, then what are these people getting where they're getting driven to their plane in a Porsche? I have no idea. Maybe I'll find out one day. Probably not any day soon. We just got to the gate and I am patiently waiting, but I want to be the very first people on this plane so that we get the max amount of time on the plane as possible. They said they were going to board in 7 minutes, and that was like, I don't know, like 3 minutes ago.
Look back. We got Delta slippers, branded. I'm sure we get to keep these. Full water bottle. Gotta stay hydrated. An amenity kit, which was made by artisan communities in Mexico using natural and recycled materials. Eye mask with earplugs, very soft. Ooh, I think this is some sort of beauty kit. Let's see what's in here. Hand cream from the Grown Alchemist. Sounds fancy. Lip balm, also from the Grown Alchemist, because people know, just like the water, you get dehydrated on them airplanes. And a toothbrush made out of bamboo with fluoride. So in case you want to brush your teeth, we got that. Oh, and a cool pen with pink. And I believe I got some champagne coming, so I'm about to say yes to that. Thank you so much.
This bedding set, which feels so soft. I think there's probably a pillow and some blankets in there. Headphones, which I assume we cannot keep, but they look pretty cool. And then the seat itself has an egregious amount of room. It has this table. Oh my God. I do not belong here. It has a table with a little mirror in it. It's like whole desk situation. And I assume this is where the table comes out, but I have literally no idea. I'll figure it out. There's a little cubby down here, as well as a cubby back here, which I'm using to hold all of my technology, which is my technology bag is an IKEA freezer bag. So, and then look at this. This is the foothole. I'm gonna try and get my feet all the way to the end. Obviously, that's not how you lay on here, but like that's how much room. That's how much room is in here. There's also a coat hanger, which is And then if the person next to you is annoying you, which he often is, bye. I'm just kidding. I love you.
Okay, so then we took off and they almost immediately brought us some warm nuts and more champagne. I decided to watch Practical Magic, and here is Alex also enjoying the appetizer before our appetizer, because there were two. I was already starting to regret how much we ate in the lounge before the flight because I had a feeling there was going to be a lot more food coming, and I was correct. Our second appetizer was bread, salad, some shrimp, and soup. They also gave us this cute little bottle of oil and vinegar as a dressing, and I'm a sucker for cute little bottles, and a salt and pepper shaker that was honestly the bane of my existence, but we'll talk more about that later. This is me enjoying the soup. I would give the soup like a 6 out of 10, but I would give the shrimp a 10 out of 10. I would venture to say this is probably the best shrimp I've ever had, which is weird because it was on a plane, but it was amazing. They brought around dinner, which was broccoli and more shrimp. Alex and I are pescatarian, so this was the fish option, but there were other options. Okay, this is me in that salt and pepper shaker. If you are flying business class on Delta One, the salt and the pepper come out from the side of the salt and pepper shaker, not the bottom. This is, it's honestly so embarrassing to watch. Nothing's coming out. I did figure it out by the time they served breakfast the next morning, but look at my confused little face. Anyway, I finished watching Practical Magic and I decided to get ready for bed, which is the first time I have ever done that on a flight. I've never gotten ready for bed while flying. It was a really cool feeling, although I'm not entirely sure how sanitary it was because I don't think you're supposed to brush your teeth or wash your face with airplane water, but I lived to tell the tale, so I guess it's okay. Now, I know sometimes business and first class will get a separate bathroom. On this particular plane and on this particular flight, that was not the case. This bathroom was shared with all the other cabins as well. After I finished getting ready, I know I said that I was going to bed, but instead I played around with the functions on my seat and almost dislocated my arm. I'm not sure if I did this right or not, which is an ongoing theme. Anyway, Alex decided to watch a second movie and I decided to watch a second movie. I told the flight attendant that it was our first time in business class, so he brought me a bunch of snacks to keep me awake so I could enjoy the entire flight, which I definitely did regret later, but we're not going to talk about that. In the morning, they came around and gave us these fresh towelettes so that we could wash our face. I put on some more moisturizer because flying always makes my skin super dry. I will say if I went into this flight trying to get a full night's sleep, I might not have been able to, mostly because the Delta One seats actually weren't that comfortable. Don't get me wrong, it is obviously better than flying economy, but Alex couldn't fall asleep even though he was trying. And even when I laid down, I did think it was a bit stiff and the foothold was a bit narrow. We have also seen that on other reviews of the Delta One product from people who fly business class frequently. They also agree it's one of the more uncomfortable ones. But after I started my second Harry Potter movie, they brought around coffee and breakfast, which was a salad and a mushroom breakfast pizza. Kind of weird for breakfast, not gonna lie, but I feel like planes always have weird menus for breakfast. We started our descent shortly after, but as you watch me struggle with my salt and pepper shaker, I'll give my final thoughts on this flight. Coming from two people who have only ever flown economy before this and who paid less than $12 combined for the flight, it was an incredible experience. The food, the privacy, the service is all light years ahead of economy or even premium economy. But Alex and I agree that had we had to pay the listed price for this flight, which was around $3,000, it most definitely would not have been worth it. For us. Maybe if we were millionaires, but we're not. So we're both really thankful that we got to experience this, and we are hopeful that we'll get to experience other business class products during our year of travel, thanks to miles and points. But once those miles and points have been used, I'm not sure we would book a flight on the Delta One product in the future. Now that you can see I've finally figured out how to use the salt and pepper shaker 20 minutes before landing, I'm going to hand it over to Alex for his final thoughts.
All in all, flying business class is truly a treat, and Delta One does excel in their service and hospitality, which was best exemplified by the check-in experience that I raved about earlier in the video. Shout out Delta One at LAX. I do think that obviously the flight itself is amazing, especially when compared to flying economy. Just being horizontal on a plane was a crazy feeling in and of itself. But I would recommend trying to get these types of flights on points instead of paying cash if you can.
So, if you're wondering how we got this flight for $5.60, when I would watch these types of videos where people would say they got a flight for $5, $10, $100, they would leave it at that and they wouldn't explain how. The truth is, you're not actually just finding a business class flight for $100, $5, whatever it may be. There is more to the story. For us, we were able to get this flight because of this credit card right here. It is called the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. It has a $95 annual fee, but a sign-up bonus of anywhere from 60 to 80,000 points. What that means is if you spend a certain amount of money on a card that has a sign-up bonus, they will give you free points. For this card, it was $4,000 in 3 months. So in the first 3 months of getting the card, if you spent $4,000, they would give you, when we signed up for it, 80,000 points for free. Now, those points are only quote unquote worth it if you would have spent those $4,000 anyway. Say you were planning a vacation and you wanted to get to that vacation in business class, you could open up the credit card, pay for the vacation on this credit card, and then earn enough points to get you a free business class flight. Or if you are someone who spends roughly $1,300 per month on bills, utilities, household expenses, you could just open up this credit card, spend what you usually spend, but put everything on the card, and then you would meet that minimum spend in order to get the sign-up bonus, and you'd get your free points. Like I said, when we signed up for this card, it was 80,000 points. We got those 80,000 points. We went to seats.aero, which is a free website, and we looked up flights for the route that we were going. You can click the business class tab. On seats.aero, for free, you can search a month out. You can search the route that you'd like to go. You could just search all of the major airlines in the United States to all of the major airlines in Europe, and you could reposition from there. This is popular if you just want to fly business class at the lowest point possible. So for the particular flight that you just watched, Alex and I got that flight for 50,000 points. For our year of travel, we signed up for a lot of credit cards just like this one, so we ended up with a surplus of points, and we decided to use those points to have experiences that we otherwise would not have been able to afford, like business class lie flat seats when traveling internationally. After the year is over, if you don't want to pay the $95 fee on this card, you could cancel it, or you could keep it because this card has a lot of travel protections, like for flight delays, lost bags, that I think if you travel even semi-frequently, the $95 annual fee is worth it. That is how we got the flight that we did. We transferred 50,000 Chase points that we got after opening up this credit card. The taxes and fees for that particular flight ended up being $5.60. Sometimes the taxes and fees are more, sometimes the points are more, but you can kind of search around. That flight that we took was around $3,000 per person. So I feel like opening up the credit card, paying the $95 annual fee to save $3,000, not even save it because we realistically, we would not have paid for that flight. But I think that's more than worth it to open up that credit card and get an experience that otherwise we wouldn't have got. We hope you enjoyed our travel day vlog, and I hope that you learned maybe something new about miles and points. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm no expert, but we have done a lot of miles and points this year specifically for this trip. Next week, we will start our Australia series, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. And thanks for watching.